that we can discuss as we continue our conversation with Robert Rabil, the Middle East expert and the professor from Florida Atlantic University. Robert, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell us what's going on now, because there are female fighters amongst the Kurds going after ISIS. What does this do to the ISIS fighters?
And kudos for them, and I hope you will have more Kurdish fighters, Yazidi fighters, Christian fighters fighting ISIS. They put them to shame, indeed, and I agree with her. You know, what's more shameful than being killed by a female? A female, according to their ideologies, I want to restrict her mainly to the household and treat her like a second or third class citizen, really. So really, I really would like to see more of those fighters fighting them, shaming them. And if they want to believe, if they're going to get killed, they are not going to go to heaven, good.
Now, in terms of this, what do you think the Kurds should be doing? Should they feature an all-female brigade or put the women in the front? I mean, because really the psychological advantage of this is profound, is it not?
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. Well, I can tell you this. Throughout the history of Kurdish fight, especially vis-a-vis Saddam Hussein, they had Peshmerga fighters who were female. And they had also Christian fighters as female. So they have a history of employing female fighters. And now we are seeing it. And as I mentioned, yes, indeed, the more the better, especially if they are trained. I'd like to see that, and I would like to see him fighting. It also, you know, enhances the position of Kobani as a resistance city. It also gives them power for the fighters in that city. And yes, absolutely right. Psychologically, it affects the ISIS fighters.
20 seconds, the YPG forces,
Yes.
how strong are they? Can they repel ISIS?
Well, they need help. On their own, I don't think they can do it, but help is going in. Turkey is allowing Peshmerga fighter from Iraqi Kurdistan to go there, and United States is dropping certain help for them. So I am more optimist today than I was a week ago.
Professor Robert Rabil, we thank you very much for your time and your insights, and we will have you back in the days to come. I promise it.
Thank you, Congressman. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely, sir. Well, let's turn our attention back to the midterms, and now our Newsmax election team takes a look at the race for the U.S. Senate in West Virginia.
West Virginia popped onto Republicans' radar as soon as Democratic incumbent Senator Jay Rockefeller announced his plans to retire. The Mountain State has only come close to sending a Republican to the Senate twice in the past 50 years. But this year is shaping up to be different. Republican Representative Shelley Moore Capito is proving to be a tough contender. She's the daughter of a former West Virginia governor and is no stranger to the life of politics. Capito's approach to the race, slow, steady, and drama-free, is paying off. Her lead in the polls has steadily grown and is now in the double digits. Capito's challenger, West Virginia Secretary of State Natalie Tennant, hasn't run a poor race. She's simply struggling to get past President Barack Obama's poor approval rating in a state that is becoming more conservative. When it comes to the issues, the two are primarily split along party lines. The Affordable Health Care Act, Capito wants to repeal and replace. Tennant doesn't, but does say some parts need reform. Same-sex marriage. Tennant says everyone should be given the same opportunities. Capito believes marriage should be between a man and a woman. Coal. Capito says the president's policies are destroying the state. Tennant is pushing for new technology to make coal cleaner. Political analysts say at this point in the race, it's all about the ground game. Who can get the most people to the polls wins.
And if my former congressional colleague Shelley Moore Capito wins, it'll be the first time West Virginia has sent a Republican to the Senate since back in 1958. Check us out on Newsmax.com and be here election night on Newsmax TV.